Welcome everyone. Today we have a special tier list for exploration. That's right, some of the heroes which are not very strong in battle can be very powerful in exploration. And as you can see, we have the Fire Ridge, we have the Flame objectives, Geo objectives, Cryo, Electric, Amino, and Hydro. I have listed most of the characters in the game by their usefulness in solving puzzles and also hunting for treasures. I have also prepared my own party setup when I'm exploring for treasures and hunting for chests. And also I recommend the party setup for most of the free characters that's available for us in the game. Now you may be wondering why it's so important to look at the exploration or the treasure hunting side of the game. This is because we can get faster adventure experience as we travel quicker across the land, and also we can obtain more loot and material for the same amount of time invested in searching for those. By having the most time-efficient party setup, we can reduce the grind time and have less of the repetitive tasks to do every day and every week. And lastly, it feels really nice to play like a pro, and also knowing that we can solve the puzzles much more effectively by having those characters readily available on the team. In this special tier list, how are the units ranked? Units are ranked on the frequency of the exploration needs as we find more puzzles as we reach higher places, and also the usefulness of the characters in a particular puzzle, or the geo solutions, or maybe we'll have to activate a flying objective. We'll also look at the character's skill cooldown and attack range for those particular objectives and puzzles. And lastly, how accessible are those characters to us for most of the free-to-play players? Are those characters free at the start of the game, like the Geo or the Amino Travelers, or Kaya, Lisa, and Ember, etc.? Or do we have to go a little further to obtain the characters like Barbara, or maybe with Noel with the banner? So we'll look at those characters in more of the detail. To start off with our tier list, we have 3 of the triple S tier characters which allows us to reach a further distance across the land. This being Venti and Kachin. I'll show you guys a replay of those. I'm sure you have tried the Geo Traveler, which over here we're using the Male Traveler as the Geo Traveler. And what we can do with the Geo Traveler is not only can we create a higher leverage, we can also create the geo structures on top of the water and create a leverage for us to cast more spells. Because if you're swimming, you cannot cast spells, but if you create a ground for yourself, you can cast more spells. This is similarly the case for the ice or the cryo characters, which can freeze the water into ice, creates a bridge. Over here we can see in one of my previous videos which I showed how powerful Venti can be in combat between boss mechanics and just allow us to fly higher to grab objectives before the boss even allow us to reach those objectives. It can also be used to reaching higher places and also grabbing a lot of good things across the land. This is similar to the case with Kachin. Her ability allows her to tag a location and then teleporting or blinking to the particular location. It is a little harder to execute compared to Venti, but she is one of the 3 characters which allows you to maneuver across land and across distance. You can see in this particular demonstration here, Kachin can teleport right into the air. This allows her to save lots of stamina before she had to climb a wall, or maybe reaching places which you can't even climb to. Now between the 3 fire-rich characters that's available in the game, Venti and also Kachin are very hard to be obtained with a 5-star, but the Geo Traveler is readily available for us. At the start of the game, I was using the Amino Traveler for his controls and for his burst damage with the combination of spells, but eventually I realized it's just so powerful to have a Geo Traveler ready, and whenever you need to swap into him, you have him ready. So what I mean by that is, if you go into a party setup, and if your character, the Traveler, is not set towards Geo, you have to teleport to a certain teleportation point, worship the statue of Geo, then change him into Geo. Sometimes you reach a point you just need a Geo character, and he can be great. So make sure you prepare him into Geo before you travel around, because you don't want to run all the way to a mountain and then find out you need a Geo character to get a leverage, and then you have to teleport back to a Shire, then worship, then run back to the mountain and climb up again to repeat that. Now for the elemental characters over here from Pyro up to Hydro. I have made a small tally of the puzzles I came so far within the game, and what I found is about 30% of those puzzles are Pyro. So they're Pyro torches, they're Pyro puzzles that you can solve, and some of the power structures require Pyro. After that, Geo is about 25% across the land, followed by that we have Cryo 15 and Electric 15%. Amino is about 5 or 10%. I can't really say Amino is that much important because usually we already have an Amino character on the team. And lastly, I have only found 1 Hydro power structure in the game, and that was hidden in the water. I'm preparing to show you guys the next videos of the chests that are hiding under the water, and it's the only power structure I found with a Hydro puzzle. So knowing how frequent the Pyro or the Flame puzzles can be, Ember is actually a double S tier character just for the puzzle solving. Usually I don't even send Ember for expeditions if I need her on the team. This is because I can swap her into the team and have her, shooting arrows to activate the torches, activate a lot of things. She is very good for that reason. Similarly, Xiaoling is also a free character. Her little puffy bear that puffs fire can reach places where characters cannot reach. This was first demonstrated in the Xiaoling dungeon, and with one of the particular flame puzzle under the water, we need Xiaoling to puff the flames onto over there. This is also a great time to show you guys what is my current party setup as I travel across the world, not to fight monsters mostly, but rather to collect materials, maybe to kill a monster mob for the chest, and most of the case for mining and also solving puzzles. So I have two of the Eminent characters, Venti and Jin, to give me the reduction to stamina. So we get 15% reduction to stamina consumption, we get 10% movement speed, also 5% cooldown reduction, which is great for moving around. After that, Ember and Chongyang is really good to activate the pyro structures and also the cryo structures. Also, Chongyang is a two-hand sword user. A Claymore user is a must-have to mine things. So this is my to-go party when I'm traveling. I can save about 15 to 20% time compared to most of the other teams. And this means if I'm playing for 30 minutes, I'm actually saving 6 to 10 minutes just because I'm more efficient. Now while I'm traveling with my party 1, my characters that I don't send on expedition are Noel, the Geo Traveler. I can't change the Traveler to Geo here, so actually I can. Oh, we got it! So the Geo Traveler, Fizzle, and also Barbara. What this allows me to do is, sometimes we need multiple Geo interactions, and turning Noel with her ultimate on, she can hit with Geo buff multiple times. And sometimes you just need a leverage, and even Venti can't provide that much leverage, so the Geo Traveler is great for that. He can even stack some of his Geo structures. Fizzle for the electric far range to hit electric structures and puzzles, and lastly Barbara if I need the Hydro puzzles. I have never needed a Hydro puzzle until yesterday. Now that we had a look at my party setup, you can see that why I ranked the Geo Traveler so highly. Nagang and Noel do also serve the purpose of a Geo objective solver, and Nagang is a range unit. Because he's ranged, I have ranked her a little higher than Noel. But Noel is definitely available for most of us to be used. Next up, we have the cryo characters. To my surprise guys, Kaya is a god. Kaya is a double S tier character in making bridges and running around. Now if you haven't seen Kaya's kit and his passive, you'll be surprised how good he is. His hidden passive or the hidden strength allows the entire team to reduce stamina cost by another 20%. This is on top of the 15% Eminent stamina reduction and the 10% movement speed. And after that, his E ability is super low cooldown. 6 seconds cooldown with a 10-second duration of the force debuff on the water makes him an incredible bridge maker. Sometimes as you explore across the land, you come towards islands which are very far reached, and there are particular island that is very far that's unreachable unless you use this particular cryo bridge trick. Now as we can see in this particular replay, there is a particular shire I want to get to, and the water might be too far for me to swim to. And what I can do is, before I get to the water, I can go into my party setup and get my special ice bridge builder. And he's so good that while he was on expedition, so right now he's on expedition. Now notice you can switch characters out of expedition guys. You don't get expedition reward, but you can just use him. So you don't have to wait for expedition to finish to get your characters, you can grab him right away. So let's have a look at Kaya. His 6-second cooldown is so powerful that I can chain my ice bridge with Chongyang and Kaya. Notice Chongyang's E spells allows for AoE of debuff of ice. Not only he slams with cryo damage, and also Chongyang's weapon will be buffed with cryo. And when Chongyang attacks while the weapon is buffed with cryo, he can create more bridge. But his cooldowns are quite long compared to Kaya, so he's still on 9.6 second cooldown. But he can create a little more bridge, then Kaya creates more, and the Chongyang repeats. So this is why those two are some of my best bridge making characters for me to travel across the world to find things. Now for the particular shire that was showed in the replay, you can still fly over there, but for this particular chest that was designated for people to actually make the bridge there, it's very difficult to fly there. I'll show you guys my replay of trying to fly to this particular location. If you haven't been there, definitely give it a try. There's a hidden quest there, allows you to solve a few of the puzzles, track things. There's a few of the loots there, also a level 4 chest after completing everything. You can see that I'm almost able to reach with my stamina. And if I fast forward a little bit, and I keep swimming, but I never made it. So guess what I did, guys? I spent the next 2 to 3 minutes to create ice bridges from the closest shore with Chuyan and Kaya to make the impossible work. Now this was about 5 or 10 minutes for most of the other players, but if you have Kaya and Chuyan at the same time, you can effectively reduce your time by 50 or 60% because you rotate the two, and those two are super fast when you rotate them like this. You can see that I have also added the 5-star characters with Quail, with Chi-Chi and Ayaka in the tier list. Ayaka will be coming with patch 1.1 likely as a free character at adventure level 42. So I have added them too, but I can tell for sure, guys, Kaya and Chuyan are the best Quail bridge makers. Next up with electric, we need range units to activate the electric monuments. And in order to do so, Fizzle is the best one, followed by Lisa with a medium range, and Biddle is a little shorter on her range. She's a melee character, it's a little harder for her to reach the objectives. Similarly, Xiao is going to be a multiple caster of Eminal damage, so is going to be Jing, and those characters are not the best Eminal debuffers or the casters. Over here we have the Wind Traveler, and also we have the Venti readily available for Eminal debuffs. Now during exploration, there are 2 uses of Eminal characters. Firstly is you can cast your Eminal spells on a windmill. It's one of those small green things, and if you cast Eminal spells on it, it will create an updrift. Second to that, there are Eminal monuments that if you cast an Eminal spell on it, it creates updrift, allows you to fly further, usually reaching a particular Geo-Oculite or one of the Eminal Oculite, and sometimes allows you to loot a particular chest. And finally, we have the Hydro characters. Now, there is only one puzzle I was able to solve with the Hydro monuments, and also our Hydro characters are not that effective in solving puzzles. Mostly Mona is very hard to be found. Barbara is nice, but we tend to not have her on the team if you have a stronger healer. Maybe Chi-Chi, maybe Jing, or even Noelle can be a healer as well. So Barbara is not a two-hand sword user, so Noelle can also break minerals. Barbara cannot do that. For the sake of my traveling, I still keep Barbara, so if I do need her, I can switch her in during the moments of needs. Now over here, I have prepared a party setup for exploring, for adventure, and also for puzzle solving. You can see that we have 2 Eminal characters, and Sakura is one of the characters out of those that is not available. What you can do is, any of the 2 Eminal characters can work. You can go with Jing if you have her. If you don't have her, then it's Sakura, Venti, and also it's Xiao. Xiao is not available, so unless you have Sakura as a 4-star, it's a little harder to have double Eminal. But that's not a problem. If you don't have double Eminal, just drag Lisa in or drag Kaya in into the team. As long as we have the basic characters during our traveling and puzzle solving exploration, for Noelle to be casting the Geo spells and also to break the minerals, the Wind Traveler for wind structures, Amber for all the puzzle solving, and also the rest of the characters readily available to solve the puzzles for us. To summarize this tier list video, it is very important for us to consider having some of the exploration characters readily available, because this means quicker traveling time, this means more loot as we travel across the land, and also less grinding time. We do not want to be stuck with repetitive tasks. This is what makes the game boring, and if we feel like we're playing like a pro, if we feel like we're getting more out of the puzzle solving, then it's a great way to play the game. And finally, before we go, guys, just be amazed of how big of a bridge we had to make to travel to this island. It was so long and so hard. I didn't want to make a guide on the island because I didn't want to spoil the puzzle solving, but it was a long time if you don't have those 2 Quail characters. It works with one of them, but 2 of them reduce the time by so much. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips, and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with capturing and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.